Hey everyone, welcome in, welcome back. It is Laura from Tenacious Taurus Tarot and Astro Insights, and we are going to dig into the energies for the week ahead for the Twin Flame Collective. As a whole, we've got some pretty significant transits. We don't have a whole lot going on this week, but what we do have playing out is pretty huge, connected to the Twin Flame Collective as a whole. We're going to break it down to the masculine and the feminine. We're going to dig deeper in to the energies with some oracle and tarot messages. So stick around, hit that subscribe button, like the video, give it a thumbs up, comment on the video, share the video. Let me know down below if these messages resonate. But let's talk about what's in store for the Twin Flame Collective for the week ahead. We've got on Wednesday the Sun in Pisces in a conjunction to Saturn in Pisces at 22 degrees. Huge energies of the Fool and the Hierophant in combination to that energy. On Friday the 14th, we do have that blood moon lunar eclipse in the sign of Virgo, which is going to be a south node eclipse. There's a sweeping energy when it comes to bringing up some karmic debris connected to major Virgo placements. We also have the Sun in Pisces forming a sextile to Uranus in Taurus the same day as the eclipse. Big energies of the King and Queen of Wands came through. We'll talk about that. And the day after the eclipse, we got Mercury stationing retrograde in Aries. So let's break it down and let's talk about the impact that this is going to have on the collective. And so I do feel the transits this week are bringing in a major spiritual initiation for the collective as a whole. The Fool energy is the representation of needing to take a leap of faith, right? And the Hierophant in combination to that is a symbolized message of divine wisdom and maybe breaking the mold when it is connected to tradition. The twin flames, I feel this week, we're going to be feeling that tension. I'm already feeling that tension between surrendering to the unknown and adhering to spiritual or societal structures. So this is pretty loud. There is going to be this emotional and spiritual maturity that is going to be required of both of the counterparts as all of these karmic lessons kind of resurface to test our faith and to test our spiritual resilience. There is a big energy coming through of healing ancestral wounding, especially related to authority, discipline, and spiritual beliefs. My grandfather on my mother's side passed away early this morning. I received news this morning. And so huge clearing when it comes to ancestral patterns and ancestral wounds. Maybe I'll get to a point where I do share that story with you one day. Divine Feminine, there is going to be a push to break free from old conditioning. This is conditions connected to relationships and your personal beliefs that have been feeling like they're keeping you stuck. So if you're being called to really lean in and trust in the journey, I think that's really what's being asked of you with the Fool card. I do feel there's a big struggle connected to doubt and restrictions connected to that Saturn energy. I know I've been feeling doubt about the path and feeling very restricted about moving forward with the channel. And so you might be feeling a similar energy. So work through that. I also feel third eye activations or third eye expansion. My dream space has been very much active when it comes to these heightened spiritual downloads. And so you might be feeling that pressure around the third eye, or even feeling pressure to do things a certain way. And so remember, we're in this major portal of doing a lot of shadow work due to the Venus retrograde energy. And so the feminine, I feel, is doing shadow work connected to self-doubt, fear of judgment, and that lack of faith in the twin flame journey as a whole. And so you might be feeling that. I was feeling that the last couple of days. Divine Masculine, this is about the masculine collective being pushed into stepping into responsibility and commitment. A lot of the masculines fear commitment. That Hierophant energy was very strong here, urging the Divine Masculine collective to embrace wisdom and this higher learning path with the Divine Feminine. And so I think a lot of the masculines are feeling this heavy weight of that karmic lesson connected to the physical world. And so this could be possibly linked to career. It could be linked to a false foundation of family expectations. And they're definitely needing to integrate their masculine authority this week. The Fool's energy, I feel, is challenging the Divine Masculine to take that leap of faith too. But Saturn, I feel, is creating this overwhelming resistance, making it hard for them to take action. And so there is going to be a possible moment, I feel, of withdrawal or silence as the masculine goes through this processing of all of these internal conflicts. Now, we're going to talk about the full moon eclipse because this was a very big energy of the King of Wands to the Four of Swords. And so as we keep in mind this being a South Node eclipse, the collective impact really is all about releasing control, releasing these old cycles, and releasing any karmic attachments. Look to the house where you have Virgo. For me, this eclipse is happening in my 7th house of relationships. There's going to be a major purge and reset for me in the 7th house. So look to which house you have Virgo in, because that's where that major purge and reset is taking place for you on your own personal twin flame journey. And so with this King of Wands energy to the Four of Swords, I feel this really is a big call for the divine masculine collective to step into personal leadership. It's going to require courage. It's going to require passion. And they're going to have to do this without being forceful. And so there is also this paradoxical energy of a need for them to pause and reflect in order to integrate the lessons before taking action. And so this eclipse is for sure going to bring in fated events, unexpected shifts. It could lead to separations. It could lead to reunions. It's all going to depend on where you are at in the journey. So divine feminine, there is a need to surrender expectations. When we try to control an outcome, it only leads to exhaustion and depletion. And so you are being called to go into a period of deep intuitive rest as you integrate these lessons, and you possibly might even be receiving insights through dreams or meditation. For me, they're coming through in dream space almost all night long. We also have to remember, divine feminine, this full moon eclipse is about releasing attachment to the old version of the divine masculine. And so we got to trust that their evolution is taking place as we too also clear these old patterns of overgiving. Virgo is a sign of service. And so where do you overgive or try to fix things that is not yours to fix? So divine masculine, there is this inner fire, I feel, awakening for you under the energies of this full moon eclipse. But you're going to need time to process this, right? With that Four of Swords energy. I feel there's a very strong realization coming forward connected to the divine masculine's purpose this week. And it's going to trigger a newfound sense of passion. And their role in the connection is going to be understood at a higher expansive level. And so there is going to be possible physical exhaustion for the masculines, as this eclipse energy is kind of pushing them into a deep subconscious reset is really what's going on. And so any karmic ties connected to the divine masculine still will likely suddenly fall away, as these eclipses are here to kind of clear the path for that soul driven action. And then the day after the eclipse, we have Mercury stationing retrograde. But first, let's talk about that Sun in Pisces, sextile Uranus and Taurus, because this is a huge energy connected to the divine feminine collective, because it was the Queen of Wands with the High Priestess is what I was shown. And so collectively, there is an activation of divine feminine wisdom under the full moon eclipse. There's going to be a shift connected to the divine feminine's creative confidence. And there is going to be unexpected spiritual downloads and awakenings for those that are just stepping onto the twin flame path. And so Uranus is going to bring breakthroughs. It can also bring breakups, but the Pisces energy ultimately is enhancing intuition. And so there's manifestation powers at an all-time high for the divine feminine. What you feel and what you believe deeply can shift your reality very quickly. So watch your thoughts, watch your words, watch your actions. I actually have a family funeral out of town the day of the eclipse on Friday. So it's going to be interesting. And then we'll have to go through another funeral shortly after. And so there is going to be sudden or shocking changes on the twin flame journey. There's going to be reunions, there's going to be separations, and there's going to be unexpected shifts in perspectives. And so divine feminine, your magnetism is likely going to increase this week. That Queen of Wands energy, I feel, is boosting your confidence. It is boosting your sensuality and your self-expression. And the High Priestess energy really is just strengthening your intuition. It's really a message about trusting in your inner guidance rather than any external signs or any external validation. And so there could be a sudden desire for freedom. There could be a sudden desire for independence or even personal reinvention. And so you could also be receiving spontaneous messages or clarity about the next steps you are guided to take for your mission work and your twin flame journey. Now, divine masculine, this is interesting because I do feel this is going to be sudden spiritual awakenings or shocking realizations for the divine masculine. The high priestess energy, I do feel, is making the masculine more aware of the feminine's telepathic connection to them. And there's going to be a strong pull towards taking bold action towards the feminine. But there's still this lack of clarity is what I felt in that energy. And so dreams, synchronicities are at an all-time high for the masculine. And there very likely is going to be a fated event in the masculine's life that is going to trigger a major change in their perspective. And then with Mercury stationing retrograde on the Saturday at 9 degrees 35, huge, huge, huge energy of the Hermit to the Nine of Wands. And so retrogrades are all about reassessing, rethinking, reinventing. The Hermit is a process of re-identification of self connected to that core Chiron aspect, the wounded healer. And so collectively, we're going into a major reflective period. I'm also a Mercury in Aries, and so this Mercury in Aries really is calling for an evaluation of past choices. And I noticed 1111 on the timer. And so the Hermit energy is screaming a need for introspection, but there's also a need to kind of push through that final test before a breakthrough, I feel. So solitude, spiritual seeking from within, and mastering that final spiritual test. And so there's going to be delays. There's going to be miscommunications. There's going to be past connections resurfacing, especially with Venus retrograde, and there could possibly be an unexpected reconnection between the twins. Divine feminine, though, you are going into a state of re-evaluating your worth, what is worth fighting for, and what truly needs to be released. And I think we kind of already know those answers. If you are feeling the divine masculine retreat or withdrawal, then there's a need for you to trust that process instead of reacting emotionally and chasing. We should never be chasing anything divine feminine. There is going to be intuitive clarity after this retrograde, even if there's delays. This is where you practice patience, right? Aries isn't a very patient energy. You are also being called, I feel, to revisit old patterns just to see how much you have grown. So divine masculine, there is a strong need for solitude. The Hermit energy, I feel, is really pushing the masculine into a period of self-reflection and re-identification of self, where all of these old wounds, all of these old fears, they're going to be resurfacing. And I do feel there's a lot of hesitation about the masculine moving forward. There's resistance. There's exhaustion. There's also perseverance, though, with that Nine of Wands. And so I think a lot of the masculines really are looking back at their past mistakes that they made in this connection and the hurt that they've caused the feminine. And they're probably not even sure how the heck to move forward. And so really this is going to be a week where our faith is being tested. We're going to need to stay grounded in that spiritual wisdom. We're learning to let go of control, right? Because eclipses are all about fated energy unfolding, and we're not going to have control over a lot of events that are happening during these eclipse portals. And we've got to embrace this energy of deep rest. So expect the unexpected. There's going to be major intuitive downloads. And Mercury retrograde is really saying deep reflection, patience, and healing. And so this, I feel, 1331 on the timer, is a very pivotal week for the twin flames. There's going to be massive karmic shifts. There's going to be spiritual awakenings. There's going to be tests of faith. And the divine feminine, I feel, is really stepping into her power, while the divine masculine is going through a deep internal reset. And so this really is the best way to navigate the energy, is through surrender, trust, and inner alignment. So let's go a little bit deeper with the cards. So stick around for part 2. Okay, so because we are going into eclipse season, I am going to pull in with the Heart's Hidden Secret deck first. We're going to get a message for the divine masculine and a message for the divine feminine. What is hidden? What is coming to light for the masculine? We get the thinking card, and so the masculine is missing you. Divine feminine, I think that is what they are hiding, and so they are doing a lot of thinking, and I do think this is connected to that Virgo energy. If you notice all of the red on the card, I do think they are working through abandonment fears. They are craving you. They are desiring you. What's on the bottom of the deck? We get the confession card, and so I do feel around that time of the eclipse there could be a hidden confession coming to light. I do think if they are going to be sending a message, it will probably be around the time of the eclipse. And so I think the masculine is going through an unveiling. What I want to say is a coming to Jesus moment. It is this energy of coming clean. And so I think they're receiving messages from the divine, from their higher self. I think they are getting ready to send you a message, divine feminine. And I do think this is connected to loyalty. And so I think they want to come in reliable. They want to come in and rebuild that trust. And I do think they're trying to believe that this is possible. But at the same time, I feel a lot of the masculines are holding on. They're clinging. They're obsessed with you still. They're spying on you, and they're going to have to clear that. I also think the confession could be connected to the fact that they are feeling hollow, empty inside when it comes to that shallow connection. And they are going through a major releasing of, I do feel, whether it's a karmic situation, it could be another person, it could be an addiction. They are letting go, they are moving on, they are walking away, and they are preparing for commitment with you, divine feminine. So big, loud messages connected to the divine masculine. And I do think there is a promise here. There is a big promise of a new start. So ultimately, I do feel there is an energy surrounding the masculine, and there is a heavy longing. There is a deep sense I feel of missing the divine feminine. And I do think there is a strong pull in the heart space, almost like an ache. It feels like an ache as they kind of come to terms with the emotional distance between you and them. And I do think they're feeling the weight of their actions. I really do. I think they're feeling a little bit shallow. I think they're realizing that they can't keep suppressing their emotions. That's what I feel is going on here with the divine masculine. I also feel there's this deep desire to communicate. There's this message of the masculines are on the verge of a confession. And I do think they want to open up about their true feelings. I do think there's a lot of regrets here, and there's a desire for a reconciliation. But there is a very significant karmic block in the way with the shallow card and the releasing card. And I feel a lot of them are watching you. They're keeping their eye on you from a distance, whether this is through social media, a mutual connection. I kind of feel in a way it's tied to some type of obsession. I think that's a big part of this karmic block. I think they're kind of stuck in a cycle of watching instead of stepping forward. I think this is also part of the karmic lesson that a lot of the masculines need to kind of work through. And I do think there is a karmic connection here that is playing a major role in delaying any type of reunion with the feminine. And this could be a third-party karmic partner. It could be a toxic relationship. It could even be a family interference. But I kind of feel there's this internal karmic cycle of self-sabotage and fear of vulnerability, fear of losing control. I do think a lot of the masculine struggle with control issues, but with this upcoming eclipse energy, I kind of feel the universe is really pushing them to finally release this baggage. They're being pushed to go through a very powerful ending, a necessary transformation. I do think this week is a crucial time for the divine masculine to close out chapters before stepping into their truth. And I do feel this eclipse portal is an energy calling for deep healing and change. And so if they choose to surrender to the process, I do feel there could finally be a letting go of whatever karmic attachment has been holding them back. And I do think there is a huge shift happening. There's a sense of this inner turmoil connected to the counterpart situation. And so I think the best thing the divine feminine can do is to just stay in her power as the masculine kind of goes through this, and to trust that what is meant for her will definitely not pass her by. So I do think once this is cleared, once these final blocks are cleared, the confession will come. So what needs to come through for the divine feminine, please? What is the hidden secret for the divine feminine? Okay, we'll take them. We get exhaustion and possibilities. So you really need to take a step back, right? Let's face it. This has been a long, draining, depleting journey. And so the possibilities are saying it's time to embrace your free-spirited nature. It's time to go towards a new adventure, to take a risk. There's that energy of the Fool. But I do think you too need to release anger, resentment, and bitterness. I don't know if you spoke some hurtful words to your counterpart, but I do feel a very prominent energy of sacred feminine rage that needs to be released. When we hold on to these negative emotions, it really does take a toll on the feminine, on the journey. And so I do feel a major, major release of anger. So what I kind of feel, Divine Feminine, is you are moving through a phase possibly of exhaustion, mentally, physically, emotionally. And there is this sense of like, hey, you've given so much into this connection. You've given so much love. You've given so much patience. You've given so much energy into a connection only to have left you feeling drained. Maybe as if you've carried the weight of this connection all alone. And so I do feel this oh my goodness, this exhaustion is not just from the twin flame journey, but from life itself, right? Maybe life is a little bit draining right now, because let's face it, the feminine has been in warrior mode for so long. This constant need to keep pushing forward, holding space, healing, and waiting. It's exhausting, right? It is absolutely exhausting. And so maybe the universe is calling you to take a step back, to rest and to nurture yourself. With this full moon and Virgo eclipse approaching, this really is a time of profound release for the feminine. Eclipses are portals of transformation. And I do feel this is an eclipse asking the divine feminine to let go of the lingering anger, to let go of the resentment and even the painful words, both spoken and unspoken, that maybe have wounded your heart. It's really time to surrender the hurt, to free yourself from the energetic weight of the masculine and this disappointment, whether there was words exchanged in the moment where you were both in a state of pain, or maybe there's words that you wished you had said that you didn't get to say. You're just being asked to release all of this into the fire of transformation. And so with the eclipse energy carrying the Fool vibration with it, I do feel there is a new beginning here, right? There's a new beginning here. There's a need to take a risk, to free your spirit. You are being guided to embrace lightheartedness again, to reconnect with the part of yourself that is wild, untamed, fearless. You don't have to carry the burden of the masculine anymore. You are being asked to take a risk, and it's not necessarily towards the divine masculine, but towards yourself, to rediscover what makes your soul sing, to rediscover what brings you joy, to rediscover just yourself. And so I do feel this eclipse gateway is a portal for the divine feminine to release past wounds, past cycles, to free yourself, to create space for the blessings that the universe wants to bring in for you. And so whether it's the twin flame connection or a completely new, unexpected path, I do feel prioritizing self-care is what is needed, detaching from expectations, allowing yourself to breathe. The energy is shifting. And so you are being called to let go, to allow yourself to feel free, to feel light, to be more in alignment with your true essence. And so the Fool is feeling like this is like the Fool. It's asking you to take a leap of faith. It's feeling like that you got to trust that no matter where you are led to, no matter where you land, it'll be exactly where you're meant to be. So let's dig in with some tarot messages. Look at that. The Lovers to the Son of Pentacles. And so this is saying an opportunity to plant a seed, right? The Lovers is Gemini energy. It's connected to the twins. So what do we got coming in for the twins for the week ahead? Let's get a general energy connected to both of the twins for the Twin Flame Collective. And we do get the 10 of Pentacles. Or is that the 9? The 9 of Pentacles. We get the 9 of Pentacles. And so there is a big need to embrace independence, Divine Feminine, to the Empress card on the bottom of the deck. And we do get 1, 2, 3, 4. The 4 of Wands to the 4 of Wands. So this is a big message, Divine Feminine, for you of embracing your path, really stepping into that divine feminine embodiment. I do feel there is a 4 of Wands energy coming through, but this is about union of self. This is about a Hieros Gamos union of self for the divine feminine. So what's going on here is this really is a beautiful picture being painted for the divine feminine. I do feel this is a week where the feminine is really being called to step fully into her sovereignty, her self-worth, her magnetism, all while aligning to the energy of union and sacred partnership. But ultimately, it's about the partnership with yourself, right? There's an energy of independence, self-sufficiency, abundance. I do feel this journey really is calling the divine feminine into a place of self-mastery, learning how to stand strong on your own 2 feet, cultivating that sense of inner peace, that sense of fulfillment that always will come from within rather than seeking it externally from your counterpart, right? And so this is a big message about knowing your worth, divine feminine, being in alignment with your higher self. The Empress card is amplifying you manifesting your aligned journey to the highest degree. You are not just abundant. You are the representation and the embodiment of creation energy, fertility, physically, energetically. This is the divine nurturer. And so how can you step fully in to your feminine power? You are here to radiate love. You are here to radiate sensuality. You are here to radiate and embody this goddess energy. And so there is a major internal shift happening for the feminine where you are knowing, hey, you don't need to chase, you attract. And so I feel you are learning to thrive in your own energy. You are becoming the Empress. The Empress is a woman that doesn't settle. I'll tell you that right now. She doesn't settle. She knows that she deserves love that is stable, sacred, and real. So if you are not in a connection that honors the stability, the sacredness, and the authenticity that you bring to the table, then you need to let that connection go. You are here to create space, but you don't need to wait around for the divine masculine. You are here to be. And if being alone is part of your calling in the next phase of your journey, then you are being called to embrace that wholeheartedly. And so what gets interesting, though, is the union energy of the Four of Wands. And what I heard was homecoming. So divine union often is seen as a union between two people, but there is a sacred foundation of self here connected to a higher power. And so divine feminine, you, I feel, are fully stepping into your power this week. You are drawing in the energy of union, which is indicating that you are ready to flourish. You are ready to raise your vibrational frequency that is needed for divine partnership to be manifested in the physical realm. This is not about chasing. This is not about yearning. This is about alignment. And so I do feel the divine masculine is likely feeling this energy. He's probably watching you. He's seeing you thrive. He's seeing you stand strong and radiate in your Empress energy. And it's going to awaken something in him, because look at what's below. The Father of Wands, the King of Wands energy. And so I think he's being struck. He's being struck when it comes to something awakening within him. And he knows he's going to have to meet you at this level. If he can't meet you at this level, then he's going to have to rise. He's going to have to rise. And so whatever karmic cycles have been keeping him trapped in that lower vibration of obsession, spying, external distractions, they're all going to have to be released. So I do feel the masculine is realizing he can no longer stay in stagnation while you keep ascending. And so there's a major call this week. The divine masculine, I think, is being pulled home, but only after he does the work. And so divine feminine, you are stepping into your power. This is a very powerful phase of your journey yet to come. So the more you focus on your growth, joy, and expansion, the more you magnetize this divine union, whether that's with the divine masculine or a new soul-aligned partnership. So keep that in mind, because we also got the Father of Pentacles. And so you are calling in a soul-aligned partnership, and it doesn't have to be with the twin flame. It can be a union that's written in the stars with somebody else here. So we get a King of Wands, we get a King of Pentacles pretty much coming through. So you might have a choice between two, because if you remember on the cut, it was the Lovers, and a lover card can also be a choice between two. But either way, you are the prize, divine feminine. The Empress and the Nine of Pentacles is a reminder that you don't need to wait for it. You are the blessing. You are the prize, and the universe will align everything perfectly when you just trust, surrender, and keep embodying your highest self. And so these eclipse portals that are approaching, I think they're bringing in a major shift. I think you are called, divine feminine, to keep walking on your path, to know that what's truly meant for you will never pass you by. And so we are in a moment of deep transformation. So stay open, divine feminine, stay aligned. Let the universe work its magic. Let's get one closing message for each of the counterparts. We'll get an archetype card for the divine masculine. What is the archetype card that the masculine is working with in the energies this week? The mask. So there we have it. They are still wearing a mask. What is the archetype card that the divine feminine is working with in the energies this week? Oh, we get the tear and the medallion. And so I feel you're coming into receiving all kinds of divine gifts. And we get the offering on the bottom of the deck. I'm pretty sure the offering did come through in last week's channeling. So I think you're about to shed your very last tear. You are about to go forward, full steam ahead. There could be an inheritance here. There could be a windfall. There's definitely this energy of being open to receiving a divine blessing. I feel like you're coming out on top. The medallion is saying you are coming out on top. And the masculine, I feel, is really struggling with the mask energy because they're still in this energy of not being fully authentic. So ultimately, I feel the divine masculine is really thinking about taking off the mask or the costume or whatever he's been wearing that has made him feel a little bit empowered, but at the core, it's not really benefiting him. And so I do feel this is a week where the masculine is going to have to reveal what has been suppressed. And the mask really is what protects him or conceals him from that rejection, right? And so I just feel right now the masculine is really struggling with finding inner peace. And I do feel he is seeking the divine feminine. And so he's basically been given a role, and maybe he's been playing a role when it comes to the stage of his life, but I don't think he can play that role anymore. He's been wearing a false persona. And I do think there's going to be something revealed when it comes to the deception around the masculine or the mask he's been trying to wear. And I don't even think he knows exactly who he is with this mask energy, but I think the masculine is about to fall face forward. And there's going to be a big fall for the masculine this week is what I'm feeling. And so divine feminine, you are being passed the torch. I feel you are being called to clear family karma. You are being called to protect and uphold traditions. There is some type of release of a burden, and I do feel an inheritance. And so I do feel there is some type of supernatural energy surrounding you, and you are about to receive everything that was taken from you. That's really what I'm feeling. And the tear is saying no more mourning. You are going through your final release, the final rain, the final releasing of drowning in the drama and the murkiness of this connection. And so you are definitely here to reach the next level of intimacy and vulnerability. And let's face it, tears are probably the most powerful thing that we can release to soften our ego. They open up the portal to the unseen world. And as we shed tears and we let go of what was, and we allow the swelling of the tide of emotion to run through us, it does open us up. And so there might be grieving yet to do for you this week, divine feminine. There could be a disappointment or, like myself, a double death in the family. But you need to acknowledge the fact that this grieving, this rain, this purging, this powerful purge is ultimately opening you up to surrender and opening you up to receiving some type of divine blessing. And so that really is what I've got for the twins for the week ahead. I really hope this helped. I hope this resonated. Let me know down below if you would like to go further with me and book in with a personal or a twin soul reading. Check out the link to the webpage below. I also like to mention there is one-on-one coaching, counseling, astrology mentorship that I do offer. If that is something you're interested, if you're ready to level up and come into alignment, check it out. And don't forget to head on over to the membership side of the channel where I go live every Thursday at noon for a full zodiac message for each of the zodiacs. But good luck with the week ahead, and I will see you all next time.